For
It's
10 years,
impossible to let him
counting
go. That's the
cars
constant
dominated
struggle
the
with me.
History
That's the
Channel.
fight that we've got in the
Danny,
business all the
Count
time.
Koker and his crew at Count's Customs turned rust buckets into automotive masterpieces, episode after episode. The show pulled in millions of viewers who couldn't get enough of the Vegas shop's high-octane restorations. But in 2021, everything stopped. No announcement, no farewell, just silence. The cameras stopped rolling, and fans were left wondering what happened. The truth isn't what you'd expect. Behind the custom paint jobs and million-dollar builds, a series of devastating events was tearing the show apart from the inside. Just 2 years into the show's success, trouble emerged. A Las Vegas couple walked into Count's Customs with a dream and $50,000. They owned a 1967 Ford Mustang and wanted Danny's crew to transform it into something spectacular. The pitch was irresistible. Their car would be featured on Counting Cars, and the History Channel would cover $20,000 of the restoration costs. They agreed to pay $30,000 up front, with the rest coming from the network. The deal was made, and they waited for their December 2013 reveal. Months passed. When the couple visited the shop in October 2013, they expected to see serious progress on their dream car. Instead, they found nothing had been done. Worse, the vehicle sitting in the shop wasn't even the right model. They'd been promised one thing and given another. Then came more bad news. The History Channel had backed out of filming the restoration entirely. Scott Jones, the manager who'd made all those promises, no longer worked there. The couple demanded their money back. Count's Customs agreed to the refund, but the money never came. Phone calls went unanswered or were redirected to dead ends. They'd been ghosted. Left with no other option, they filed a lawsuit to recover their $50,000. The case exposed something troubling. If this shop couldn't deliver on promises made to customers, what else was happening behind the scenes? This lawsuit was just the beginning. The real bombshell was still coming. Danny Koker wasn't always a television star. Before Counting Cars existed, he was the guy Rick Harrison called whenever Pawn Stars needed expert advice on classic vehicles. Danny would show up, drop some knowledge, and disappear. But producers noticed something. The camera loved him. His bandana, dark sunglasses, and genuine passion for cars made him magnetic on screen. Viewers wanted more of the Count, and the History Channel was listening. In August 2012, Counting Cars premiered as the third spin-off of Pawn Stars. The concept was simple but addictive. Follow Danny and his Count's Customs crew as they hunted down classic cars, restored them to perfection, and either sold them for profit or added them to Danny's personal collection. Each episode showcased the shop's incredible talent, from Ryan Evans's flawless paint jobs to Shannon Eichau's mind-blowing motorcycle builds. The team had chemistry, the projects were ambitious, and Danny's personality held it all together. The show exploded. Season after season, viewers tuned in to watch cars transform from forgotten junk into six-figure showpieces. By the time Season 10 rolled around, Counting Cars had produced 184 episodes and become one of History Channel's longest-running reality series. Danny was making a reported $100,000 per episode, and Count's Customs had evolved from a modest Vegas shop into a must-visit destination for car enthusiasts worldwide. Everything seemed perfect. The business was booming, the ratings were solid, and the future looked bright. But behind that success, cracks were already forming. Joseph Frontiera joined Count's Customs in June 2013 as the company's accountant. He wasn't a mechanic or a painter. His job was handling the money, managing payroll, and keeping the books clean. On camera, he wasn't a major player, but behind the scenes, he controlled the financial heartbeat of the entire operation. Danny and his team trusted him completely. That trust was about to be shattered in the worst possible way. By 2016, something felt off. The numbers weren't adding up. Irregularities appeared in client accounts and project budgets. Someone was playing games with Count's Kustoms money, and when they dug deeper, all roads led to Frontiera. The investigation revealed a nightmare. Over $75,000 had vanished from company accounts, allegedly used for Frontiera's personal expenses. He'd made a down payment on his Range Rover using company funds. He'd bought plane tickets for personal trips on the company dime. But the most brazen move? Frontiera had created rubber signature stamps of Danny Koker and Kevin Mack. He was literally forging their approval on checks, draining the company's accounts without anyone knowing. When Counts Customs finally ran a background check, they discovered Frontiera had a criminal history. He'd been accused of embezzlement and fraud by a previous employer in Florida. The hiring agency never disclosed this information. The man handling their money was a known thief, and nobody had caught it until thousands of dollars had disappeared. Danny was furious. The lawsuit was filed in March 2016, and the fallout was just beginning. Counts Customs wasn't playing games. They sued Frontiera for embezzlement and felony theft, demanding every stolen dollar back. The lawsuit detailed everything: the forged signatures, the personal expenses disguised as business costs, the tax payments that never happened. Because Frontiera had failed to pay certain company taxes on time, the IRS slapped Counts Customs with an $18,000 penalty. That meant the shop wasn't just losing the money Frontiera allegedly stole, they were getting punished for his failures too. Las Vegas courts charged Frontiera with felony theft of more than $3,500 for crimes committed in August 2013. A warrant went out for his arrest, but there was a problem. Frontiera had already fled to Florida. He wasn't coming back to face the music. His attorney filed motions to dismiss the case, arguing the allegations lacked evidence. The hiring company, Randstad Professionals, fired back with their own countersuit, claiming their contract explicitly prohibited Counts Customs from giving Frontiera access to company finances. Everyone was pointing fingers, and the legal mess dragged on. For Counting Cars, the damage went beyond money. The scandal eroded trust. Viewers who believed in the Counts Customs family now questioned everything. How could a shop with cameras everywhere miss this? Frontiera was completely erased from the show. His name disappeared from the credits, from the cast lists, even from online databases. It was like he never existed, but the stain remained. The embezzlement case became ammunition for critics who claimed the show was fake, that the family atmosphere was just another scripted storyline. The reputation took a hit. While lawsuits piled up, another truth was bubbling to the surface. Counting Cars might not have been as real as fans believed. People who visited Counts Customs or worked in the automotive industry started speaking up online. They pointed out inconsistencies that didn't add up. Those spontaneous moments when Danny spotted a random car on the street and convinced the owner to sell? Staged. The owners were contacted weeks in advance, and the negotiations were rehearsed for dramatic effect. The timeline was another red flag. On television, complete restorations happened in days or maybe a couple of weeks. In reality, professional car restoration takes months, sometimes over a year for complex builds. The show compressed timelines to create artificial urgency and drama. Behind every rush job were countless hours of work that never made it to screen. Even the crew's personalities seemed exaggerated. Cast members who met fans in person were reportedly nothing like their on-screen personas. They were playing characters, amplified versions of themselves designed for entertainment. The conversations were too clean, too scripted. Real mechanics in real shops don't talk like that. They curse, they argue, they deal with genuine frustration. Everything on Counting Cars felt sanitized and controlled. Some former reality TV stars from other shows had already admitted their programs were heavily produced, which only fueled speculation about Counting Cars. Forums and YouTube comment sections filled with debates about what was authentic and what was fiction. The show's credibility was crumbling. Fans felt betrayed, and once that trust disappears, it's nearly impossible to get back. The magic was fading. Danny Koker never put all his eggs in one basket. While Counting Cars made him a household name, he'd been building an empire across Las Vegas. His rock band, Counts 77, had always been his first love. The group played 1970s-style hard rock, and Danny was the lead singer. As the television show consumed more of his time, the band took a backseat. By 2021, sources suggested Danny was ready to refocus on music. He'd spent a decade under the reality TV microscope, and the passion for performing live was calling him back. Beyond the band, Danny owned multiple businesses. Count's vamped rock bar and grill was a popular Vegas hotspot, hosting hundreds of music events annually. He ran Count's tattoo company, adding another revenue stream. His merchandise empire sold everything from branded clothing to car accessories. Managing all these ventures while filming a demanding TV show was exhausting. The cameras required constant availability, scripted schedules, and repetitive filming of the same scenes for different angles. It was draining. Reports surfaced about creative differences between Danny and the show's producers. After 10 seasons, Danny allegedly wanted more control over the direction of the show, but producers had their own vision. The friction grew. Some sources claim Danny simply felt burned out. A decade of filming meant a decade of having cameras follow him everywhere, turning spontaneous moments into staged performances, sacrificing privacy for ratings. Perhaps Danny realized something important. Count's Kustoms didn't need the show to survive. The shop had built a reputation independent of television. Customers still lined up for custom builds. The business thrived. Walking away from the spotlight might actually be the smartest move. By the time season 9 and 10 aired, the ratings told a brutal story. Counting Cars was losing viewers. The automotive reality TV market had become oversaturated. Fast and Loud, Graveyard Cars, Misfit Garage, and countless YouTube channels offered similar content. Cable television itself was bleeding subscribers as streaming services dominated entertainment. Younger audiences weren't watching traditional TV anymore, and the show's core demographic was aging out. The numbers kept dropping season after season. Then 2020 hit, and COVID-19 changed everything. Production on every television show ground to a halt. Social distancing requirements made filming nearly impossible. Count's Kustoms had to adapt to new safety protocols, which meant fewer people in the shop, masks everywhere, and constant testing. The spontaneous, close-quarters energy that made the show work vanished. Filming became a logistical nightmare. Insurance costs skyrocketed. Every episode cost more to produce while pulling in fewer viewers. The pandemic also shifted how people consumed content. Streaming platforms exploded, and viewers developed new habits. They wanted binge-worthy shows, documentaries with depth, content they could watch on their own schedule. A weekly car restoration show on cable felt outdated. The History Channel itself was pivoting, focusing resources on different types of programming that aligned with changing audience preferences. Counting Cars suddenly didn't fit the network's vision anymore. By late 2021, the writing was on the wall. The show was expensive to produce, ratings were declining, legal troubles had damaged its reputation, and the television landscape had fundamentally changed. Counting Cars had survived a decade, but the perfect storm of circumstances was about to end its run. December 1st, 2021. That was the last time a new episode of Counting Cars aired on the History Channel. No big announcement, no farewell special, no emotional goodbye where Danny thanked the fans for 10 incredible years. The episode ended, and then nothing. Weeks passed, months passed. Fans kept waiting for news about Season 11. They checked the History Channel's website, scoured social media, searched for any hint of what was coming next. Silence. The History Channel never officially canceled the show. They didn't have to. In the television industry, sometimes shows just stop. No dramatic press release, no explanation, just a quiet removal from the schedule. Counting Cars faded into the archives, joining the long list of reality shows that had their moment and moved on. Fans felt abandoned. They'd invested years watching Danny and the crew, and the show vanished without closure. Online forums filled with theories and speculation. Some blamed the lawsuits, others pointed to ratings. Many suspected the pandemic had simply made production too complicated. What makes the ending even stranger is how sudden it felt. Season 10 didn't feel like a final season. There was no sense of wrapping up storylines or providing closure. It was just another season that happened to be the last one. Cast members didn't announce they were leaving. Danny didn't post about the show ending. Everyone just moved on. The lack of transparency frustrated loyal viewers who deserved better. They'd supported the show through scandals and controversies, and this was how it ended, with nothing but silence and unanswered questions. Walk down the Las Vegas Strip today, And Count's Customs is still there, still thriving. The shop never needed the television show to survive. Danny Koker is still customizing classic cars, still performing with Count 77, still running his Vegas empire. The difference now? He's doing it all without cameras in his face. His businesses continue making money, his passion for cars hasn't diminished, and by all accounts, he's happier without the reality TV grind. The shop posts regular updates on social media showing current projects, customer builds, and behind-the-scenes glimpses. They're busier than ever. So what really killed counting cars? It wasn't one thing. It was everything hitting at once. The embezzlement scandal destroyed trust and created legal headaches that cost the company time and money. The 2014 lawsuit exposed operational problems that raised questions about the shop's professionalism. Declining ratings proved audiences were moving on to other content. The pandemic made production expensive and complicated. Danny's desire to focus on other ventures meant his heart wasn't fully in the show anymore. The History Channel's programming shift left counting cars without a clear home. Sometimes the smartest business decision is knowing when to walk away. Danny built something real that outlasted the television show. He proved you don't need cameras to run a successful custom shop. The cancellation wasn't a failure, it was a transition. Counting cars gave Count's Customs a platform, but the business was always bigger than the show. The Count is still counting, just not on television anymore, and maybe that's exactly how he wanted it to end.